today's plan, if you didn't already read the title, probably below or above this image, depending where you're watching, we're gonna finish Satisfactory. In fact, it's pretty much done. The everything till send phase 5, the final phase up the space elevator, is filled. I just haven't sent it yet. We're gonna do that at some point, probably not right away. And we're gonna go over just everything we did in Satisfactory, everything we did over this. Hold on, oops, I meant to. Well, let me get you guys switched over. I meant to look at the save file before I loaded the game, but it's loading in right now. You're gonna see it in a sec. Anyways, we are just above 200 hours. I actually would arguably say we got here in under 200 hours, and I largely just let the game run to accumulate the last few things. You can see the screen popping up for you right now, and if you look at the top right corner right above my image, you can see all 4 of those items. All the items are filled. Those are the items, if you don't know, that are in this giant space elevator right here, and we're going to send those supplies up there, essentially completing the game. But before we get to that, plan is to just kind of take in everything we've done for the sake of information. This is the load we just did to AA10 before turning in phase 5. Obviously, I labeled it as such. And after I do that phase 5, I'm going to make one more save, just saying like this is basically where I left off, no mods. So in the future, if I want to try loading it, I know where the unmodded save is, because I might hop back on with some mods and try doing some different things in the same save. I don't know. We'll see. But we're at 202 hours and 3 minutes on this save. Again, I really ended it right around here at the 198 hours mark at AA8. And I mostly just let the game run. Just let it building these really slow to build items to get them done and to get them sent to the space elevator, which is all the conveyors. If you've been watching Satisfactory, you know how it works. And so those last few hours, technically, not much playing. Well, actually, I would actually say I probably played till about 200 hours, because when I did have it sitting here, letting stuff just do factory stuff, I checked it at one point, and I checked my power, and my power was, like, borderline about to blow the fuse. Like, it was crazy how much sunlight, like, part of the reason is I was making nuclear pasta, which, again, above me, you can see the items. Nuclear pasta is the one on the far your left. My webcam switched, so I gotta do it. Anyways, and that I had all the machines on that boosted 100 or like 250%, which, if you don't know, that's probably one of the most power hungry things you can do is make nuclear pasta, or at least make the particle accelerators run at full speed. Like at its peak, it was pulling, each of the 3 I had going were pulling 25,000 milliwatts, and I'm only generating about 90. So they never all did it at the same time. They're at different phases of power consumption when it all happened. I'm pretty sure that's the only way my whole power grid didn't fail when I was AFK. Lucky. Just pure luck. So I ended up having to go do those, and I turned them down, and then I found there were a few supply issues, and I fixed a few things. I probably spent about an hour off camera just fixing a few things that were done. It's really interesting to me, as I was doing that, you know, trying to really push everything to the limit to get these things filled up quickly, it really started to become apparent how not, what's the word? Not fully efficient. My factory is not fully efficient. There's a lot of things that if all the machines were running, I would constantly run out of. But that's also why a lot of the machines aren't running 24/7 or, you know, 100% of the time. Because there's bottlenecks, there's limitations on you know, on some of the items I'm creating, and you know, it's just, I'm glad it's over. I'm glad I'm at the end, and I wouldn't be upset if there was more to play. But if there was like a phase 6, I can guarantee you I would have to be like, I would have to go through, I'd have to reinforce a lot of my supply lines with more supply before I could probably even really make much of an attempt to it. So I guess what I'm saying is my factory is just efficient enough to get where we are now. If there was another phase, another step in this process, I would probably be looking at lots and lots and lots of hours of retooling my factory and adding to it and all sorts of stuff. So just fun thing to pick out. I had no idea I was going to feel like that. Most of this time, honestly, I felt like I provided enough of the supplies I needed all the way up to this point, and it was only when I started needing large amounts of the supplies that it started to become apparent that I didn't have a lot of these things in the volumes that I needed. But, you know, that's just Satisfactory. That's the way Satisfactory is. It was funny to me, really. I wasn't upset by it or anything. It was just like, wow, I can tell that I was, like, at this point, I'm just skirting the line. But the line is skirted and not crossed, and that's really what matters. Everything's loaded. We're going to set it up in a bit. If you don't know, just to give you guys a little preview of what's happening, if you haven't watched any of this, if you happen to be watching this in Satisfactory for the first time, you got this little command console down here. I'm in a hovercraft, by the way. That's how I'm floating around, and it's electricity powered, so as long as I stay by any of my electrical poles, it keeps me up in the air, in case you're wondering. But we'll go to this console later, and we'll package everything I've loaded into it, which is all these conveyor lines you see going into it. And, yeah, we'll send it up there, and it'll build the final sections of that space station, and it's all going to be awesome. And Ada, the computer AI assistant's probably going to talk some shit about me and say that she's surprised I even did it. I don't know, she's kind of snarky like that, but that's also what I'm looking forward to hearing. Like, all of ADA's dialogue in this game has been fantastic. Unfortunately, I can't think of anything I can do to show you her talking. I mean, I might have some research I could unlock. I've got almost all of it done, though. There's only a few little things here and there. Alien Power Matrix. I actually can't believe I didn't have this unlocked. Let's do this. I actually don't even know what this does. I need 50 of those. Jeez, it takes 100 power shards? Not a problem. And SAM fluctuators. How many of those? 500? So all this whole batch. Okay. Let's see. So I'm actually I'm gonna bring the music down just a little bit more. Actually, I might just stop it. I'm gonna pause the music for a sec so we can hear what she has to say. I'm sure it'll be snarky. You ready? And please tell me this isn't gonna take more than a few seconds. Okay, good. Let's listen.
Mimic artifacts increase power augmenter output by further stabilizing the summer sloop's connection to its energy harvesting location.
You grow shrines and engrave silent organs incompatible with the tapestry.
It is a beginning, far from an ending, a step in between.
Harmony.
So first off, realized I didn't have the game audio on there right at the start. Apologies. You guys caught the tail end of it. That sucks. I am at least really glad I caught that before I went and started doing all the touring and stuff. You guys could still hear me, so that's good. You just didn't have much of a game background. But we also had music playing, so you probably didn't notice too much. But I apologize for that. Anyways, that's Ada. And you heard the alien voice talking to Ada. That was the weird, like, glitched version. Throughout the whole game, as you progress using the alien technology, that thing talks to you more and more. It's been a whole process. They've said a lot of weird things that I honestly kind of wish I would have quoted more, or not quoted, clipped more of, but I didn't, unfortunately, and that's just the way it is. So, whenever we send this last thing up the elevator, Ada's going to have some words for us, I'm sure. The alien consciousness, I'm not really sure how to refer to it. It seems alien, obviously. But it's like a consciousness. It's not a thing you ever see or speak to. It's just like, it is actually connected to like the Mercer spheres, this guy right here, and summer sloops, which I don't currently have in my inventory. I can't. Oh, they're right here though. You can see the icon. As you pick those things up and you press through the game, more and more of it talks to you. Anyways, that's what we're looking forward to. That's the thing. But you know, for the start, there's so much to go over. And ideally, I'd like to spend about an hour touring the factory in the world, looking at everything we've done over the last 200 hours. And then we're going to do the elevator at the end. I actually have never done the elevator, the final phase. I don't know if there's anything past it, although I'm like 98% sure that's pretty much the end. You can obviously keep playing, you can keep building, you can keep doing everything. It's just more or less the end of the storyline. And I do hope they leave it open, you know, for a sequel of some sort. They could honestly just probably do, like, new worlds, and we would be super stoked on that. But also, this world's so big, and it's not dynamically created. Well, maybe it was started that way, but it's handcrafted, and that's why it's so good. Like Satisfactory, this has been 200 hours of fantastic gameplay. This game is so addicting. I often, and just like today, I crack like a can of soda, and this one's still full. I've taken one sip out of it so far. And then I'll play for like 5 hours, you know, finish up the stream, whatever, and then go grab it, and it's still fucking full. But it's warm because I'm just so locked in. Also, you guys, chat, you guys keep me locked in, and so I'm not blaming you. It's a good thing. You know, some people get mad when they miss stuff like that, but I don't. Like, I don't care if I waste a can of Coke. Like, if I was so locked into something that I didn't drink for a little while, not too long, don't dehydrate yourself. That just tells me that I was super into it. That's good. That's a good thing. I love when that kind of stuff happens. It doesn't happen often for me. I don't know how you guys are. Maybe you lock in easy. I don't. So, where do we start? I'm trying to think. I'll be honest, I wanted to do some more preparation before this stream. I did a little bit of it, but I wanted to like write down a list of things specifically I wanted to make sure I focused on. But I'm not going to be uninstalling Satisfactory today. We'll have the save. I can do some extra stuff tomorrow or over the weekend if I need to. So we're going to start here. This is where it all started. If you can imagine this landscape looking much more like, I don't even know, man. Like that landscape over there, like all this landscape, like pretend there's no facilities, just pretend it's just dunes. No human crap. Assuming we're humans, they don't really say. That's how all this started. Just dunes. It's a little bit of a rolling dunes. Admittedly, you can't see it. And this was my main, this is the first thing you put down, your base. The hub, I believe it's called. Yeah, it's kind of hard to see on the map up there. And I do believe I moved it once. I think one time it was maybe over here. But this is the dune starting spot. And I think you actually start a little bit further west to that way. But I like came over here and this is where I started. And like a lot of these machines are the same ones that were here when I first built them. Like probably 195 hours ago. And yeah, this is where it started. This little path right here. And then as we expanded out, the original idea for this factory, which I wouldn't say I fully realized, it got harder and harder to realize it as we went on, and I relied less and less on trucks as we went on. But originally, you can kind of tell, there's like, the original idea for this factory was center open, like there's no floors really between it. You can go all the way up and down if you're like in a jetpack or a hover pack. And I wanted to have vehicles constantly coming and going, dropping off stuff, picking up stuff. I wanted to make, actually, my plan was to use a lot more trucks than I ended up ever using. And then I wanted to have, you know, some stuff over here and some stuff over here. And the game kind of actually even separates that a little bit with the type of technology items required to build. Like lots of copper-based technologies are on this side and lots of iron and stuff technologies are on this side. Now, as we go into the center here, whoops. And for the record, not complete at all. Like, in fact, it got, again, 200 hours and it looks like this. Plan was to make it look good. That plan is scrapped and gone. Might be a future thing, but that's not happening here. So, basically, you can go down here, we can see, I did have a few trucks going. We got a few truck stops. You can see them coming and going to those. I think this first truck stop has 2 different trucks going to it, these 2, and that truck stop behind it has 1. And we had like maybe 1 more truck at another time, and that just that's just all I ever got done with it. Unfortunately, we do have another truck over here, one of the bigger trucks, which is not currently at the base. It drops off at this one, and it drops off all this quartz, I believe it is. Yeah, raw quartz, and it comes up here, and I don't know. It basically goes straight all the way out to the end there. We might be able to see it if I zoom in. Let me try. Oh yeah, there it is. So yeah. So that was the plan. That was the overarching plan. Again, it didn't quite get realized the way I had pictured it at the start, but you know, a lot of stuff changes in 200 hours. You could only if I probably could have stuck to it better, but eventually you just want to make progress. You don't, at least I do. I'm more of a progress driven person than I am aesthetics. Aesthetics help, and if you don't know, in the 1.0 release, Satisfactory released the ability to do these nice, really clean 90-degree angles with conveyors without having to like set up stuff to do it yourself, and so that was really nice. Yeah, so let's see. I don't even know where to start. I guess I already did start. That was the start. So originally we were... I don't even remember which nodes were first anymore. It's been so long. I know my copper over here, like there's a node, a copper miner right there in the center of my screen. That was the very first copper miner I dropped. And it started originally with just a few smelters here and a few items. And now you can see it's turned into, like, it looks like 12, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 smelters. And I think there might even be a few more that we can't see. Going to all of these assemblers that are creating all sorts of various things, going all sorts of various directions. That's just how Satisfactory is. I also, for the record, I didn't use colors as much as I wish I would have at the beginning. Like the green floors you see here, it really helps change up the view when you're playing for 200 hours. So if you're going to start Satisfactory, I'd recommend you use colors more often. There's a whole theming page. You can right-click any of the finishes or the swatches and make them your standard for certain things. So if you're going to be doing a whole bunch of pipes and you want them to be like blue, you can do blue pipes, and all the pipes you place will use this color swatch. You can also use the color swatch to actually color things. I don't know if you can see the color changing as I highlight over stuff. I don't want to change any of these colors though. So yeah, if you're playing Satisfactory, use more swatches. Yeah, eventually I opened up another copper mine over there. You can see all the copper bars coming down this way. We got more raw copper coming in. Like, there's just tons and tons of copper going on over here. So, and most of my copper-based pieces are largely built on this side of the factory until maybe the later ones. And on that side is mostly iron, and I got a whole bunch of iron stuff over there. So, but this is more or less the main copper factory. Like, it's printing out. We got lots of copper wire going out. We got copper sheets back here. See what else? I mean, those are the main two things. You start with copper. And, you know, those things are coming back here and getting turned into cables. And over here to more cables, it looks like. And there's a lot. There's a lot going on. So this is our copper factory. Our now 200-hour later copper factory that started with just a few nodes and a few things at the time. I guess we're just going to go this way. Moving on, a lot of this has come later in the gameplay. Mostly just extra, like, reinforcing iron parts that I needed. Or in this case, I guess this iron's actually making a wire. But a lot of these things I built when I was starting to, say, run low on wire. When all the things that needed it weren't getting enough, and it was lots of power fluctuations and stuff not being built fast enough. Let's see. This is one of the final phase pieces up here. These two blenders were making the biochemical sculptors. And I currently have them turned off. Again, I was running into power issues, and at the time, these were done, so I was like, I'll just kill them. Then I don't have to worry about the power for the time being. I can probably turn them back on now. I'm going to go ahead and do one. Yeah. So this is endgame. And that's also why the water's coming from all the way over there to these sculptors, or to these blenders to make the sculptors. They require water. And a few other items that are being droned in on these two drone platforms. One of which are the assembly director systems. It's kind of like I don't even really know what to call this. It's sort of like an AI control system, maybe? I'm not really sure what an assembly control system is. And then the other thing we had coming in on those drones were the fixed site trigons. Which, I'm not sure what's going on here. Oh, that's turned off. That's why. The drone was waiting for me to turn it back on. Remember, I was trying to save power, so a lot of the stuff over here got turned off literally in the last few hours of play. Let's see, we got a huge concrete foundation, concrete support factory platform over here. Let's go with factory platform. That works for me. And, you know, there's not much out this way. It's all pretty much desert. Let's see, we have a few mining operations set out here in the distance. I don't really think they're really worth going to because they're literally just miners. But so that one right there, that's the one we were looking at earlier. So that goes to behind those buildings there, right over that hill. We can't see it. Are two quartz miners that are mining all the quartz, bringing them back to here, and it's that this vehicle's bringing them back to the. Oh, maybe it's going over there. Holy crap! Did that thing just do a jump? I think it was just a low poly world in the distance, so it looked like it got air, but it didn't. You know, let's just go ahead and go over there. Let's see. For those that don't know, there are a few ways to travel around in Satisfactory. You unlock them as you progress. You use your legs at the beginning, as you can imagine. I'm using the hovercraft a lot right now, as you can see. Oh, man, I wonder if I should talk about the Fixmas stuff yet. We're going to get into Fixmas. We're going to cover all this whole section that involves the tree. We'll come back to it. We're going to come back to it. For right now, though, do I not have a cannon pointing that way? So I use cannons to traverse a lot of this game. And I just now realizing that I don't actually have a cannon that goes over there anymore. I'm pretty sure it got destroyed or something. Not a problem. Whoops, let's go ahead and throw down a compact death cannon. This seems like too much. Well, whatever. Might just have to float down for a while. So, cannons. Great way to get around. Not for everyone. Actually, I do think they're for everyone. So now I have the jetpack on, which won't let me hover. I mean, I can sort of hover. I have to do it manually. But I have fuel, so there's a whole thing. Anyways, let's go. So here's another good view of the factory. We're going to go through the whole thing. We're going to come back to that. Let's do some satellite ones first, though. So we got a lot of mining over here. Well, not a lot. We got a few. These two right here are coal miners. Let's see if I can stop right above them. This is a good place, actually. Yeah, so I have both of these two pumping out as much coal as I can. They might actually do more now if I upgraded them. And those go over there and get picked up by a truck that takes them further over here to some coal factories we're going to go look at later. That one vehicle we saw driving is actually going to this vehicle drop-off right here, which is where all the quartz is going. You can see the quartz rolling in there. This coal line going to right now is just for fuel. So it's actually not really using any of that. Just a little bit here and there. So that all that quartz is coming from those two quartz nodes over there. And that's like kind of largely it for this little section. We've got more coal over here. So that's all coal. And I believe it's being... I'm actually not... Oh, yeah, that's being brought over by vehicle as well. I think the vehicle that picks up right here actually picks up at both of those two. It's been a very long time since I set that up. Because that was one of the first... Coal's one of the first major powers options you get. And you upgrade past it pretty quick. And so I haven't been back over there anytime soon to look at it or do anything to it. Let's go ahead and check out the coal factory. I'm not gonna go over there because it's literally just more factories. More miners. There's not anything worth looking at over there. I'll look over there when we boost up though. You ready? So you can kind of see. I know it's pixelated for you guys. It's just kind of a little flat area with a couple miners. That's it. So over here, we got some more coal miners right there running this whole line. This was one of my first super long conveyor lines. Goes all the way down this. I think 3 or 4 of these are coal. And then they come all the way over here to these coal factory plants. And what started as, I think, 8 originally is now all this. I don't know how many. I can count them. But I don't want to, like, straight honestly, I don't want to have to count everything for you. Maybe a few things. But you can see these are in arrays of 2. So we got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30 coal power generators, each producing 75 milliwatts. Now, you don't have to do this many. I could definitely boost them by putting power cores in them, but in all honesty, I just don't have to. Like, I prefer to do less boosting and more building if that's an option. Yeah, those they use the coal for power. They pull water from all these water extractors behind them to cool it, and it doesn't have any byproduct, so it all burns pretty much clean. You know, relatively clean. Don't mind the smoke here, and you know, just kind of works. Just keeps going. It's great. It's not a huge amount of power anymore. So I'm currently producing 95,000 milliwatts. I think it's milliwatts, or maybe 95 megawatts. I think 1,000 milliwatts is a megawatt. These are things I should know, but I don't. Sorry, guys. You can Google it if you want to know for sure. But yeah, so I'm producing 96,000 of whatever. And each of these only adds 75. And even with these, how many did I say? 28, 26, 30, whatever? it's almost nothing by tier 5 or phase 5 standards. So it's nice to have them, but there's just really no point in me trying to expand on it, because the time that it would take to expand on it, I could do some more nuclear that would be far more beneficial. All right, let's go over here. So once I started breaking into steel, which I think is around like phase 2 or so, this is where my steel factory started. And originally it was down here. You can tell I was messing around with some of the reflective textures here, and then it goes back to matte. Again, I wish I would have done more colors. I didn't. So if you were going to start playing Satisfactory, do some colors. Like, it just helps break things up. It just looks nicer. It's more aesthetically pleasing. Yeah, so to make steel, the default recipe is iron and coal. So we've got coal coming in from those coal lines. It actually looks like we have 4 of them running full speed. And then you mix it with iron, and it makes steel. And there's a few other recipes. There's lots of other recipes for games, so I'm not going to go over everything. But yeah, so this made steel, would run over here, and then from the steel bars, they would get turned into steel beams, which are these guys right here. I'm going to turn on the flashlight, maybe help a little bit. As well as steel pipes over here. This whole thing has been changed quite a bit. I think maybe 2 of these machines over here are in the same place, but it's gone over some serious renovations. And then obviously I ended up adding a second level. I even have future expansion here that I never ended up connecting. Like, these aren't even staying full, obviously, so running those is pointless. And these, I think, are just making more steel beams. Yeah, these are all making steel beams. Now, you can mix the steel beams over here to make encased steel beams, and those are used for all sorts of things. But that's the steel factory. The encased steel beams do require concrete, so that's what we have going on over here. This is our concrete production for the steel beams. Got it coming in from a couple different places. Got a couple of them coming in through the gap of the mountains over here. And these are all it's just turning limestone into concrete. Nothing fancy, nothing special. That's literally it, top and bottom. Limestone into concrete as much as I can using the basic recipe, which is not the most efficient, but it's pretty cheap still, nonetheless. Also, plan, by the way, was to, at the very least, add, like, legs and support to these floating platforms so it didn't look so off-putting. Didn't quite get there. Not too concerned about it myself. Alright. You know, and on the tail end, since we're kind of wrapping around the main factory here, maybe I should have done steel first. I want to do coal first because coal comes before steel. The coal power, that is. Over here, we have our Caterium wire production, which is basically like the regular copper wire, but it's like a higher quality, or just made of a different material. I don't know. It's used for different things. Oh, ran out of power. We're good. And that is all that's happening over here. Just tons and tons of Caterium wire. We have definitely upgraded it as I've ran out. The downside with both wire and Caterium wire is a lot of the stuff that uses a lot of it. So you got to feed the machine really fast if you want it to not stop between production runs. So that's why we got 2 lines running out at full speed. This has been expanded on, I think, 2 or 3 times at this point to get to this size. And I think the most ironic part, I'll double check really quick, but these are all coming off of, I think, just one pure node. Yeah, just this one pure node is feeding all of that. Admittedly, with a Mach 3 miner, that's the highest tier of miners if you don't use any mods. Incidentally, this game, mod-free. This is entirely vanilla Satisfactory. So everything you see you can do, and you don't have to install anything special besides the game. Alright, so let's go over back to the main base. I'm going to run out of power if I'm not careful. I might really quickly... What was that thing I just researched? That I didn't get all the... Special, maybe? Huh. Thought it would be in power. Because we got the alien power augmenter. Oh, did it just do it naturally, maybe? No, it says 10% boost. Burner, coal power, fuel, geothermal, nuclear. I'm not sure where that thing went. The alien power augmenter is what it was called, I'm pretty sure. Well, you know what? It's not something we need for any reason, and probably isn't something we're going to need at all. See, there's still things that I didn't ever get to touch on, like portals. I never got around to actually making portals. So, you know, I might actually do that right now while we're all watching and playing. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I do need to boost over to a few places. That would be great to have extra portal exits. So, you know, we'll see what happens. This train is bringing in various things of aluminum. We're going to go over that in a little bit. Why not now? So basically, this train is bringing in aluminum casing and aluminum sheets from my aluminum factory. Way over there. Will probably be the next big place we go besides the factory, besides the main factory. These eventually join the line here with a Caterium wire and move into the factory here. We do also have a small little vehicle drop off here. I'm trying to remember. I think this one, it brings plastic, rubber, and fuel all on one line. Those items go down these lines into these sorting bins down here. These three smart conveyors, you can see this one's obviously fuel. These three smart conveyors are all programmed to either move the item I want to the right or keep pushing it through. In this case, we got fuel. This one's definitely plastic. I can see it back there. And then this one's rubber. Anything that doesn't get moved either because it's full or it doesn't have a home gets pushed through into this line. And actually, I forgot we do have one more thing coming in on this. The SAM, reanimated sands coming in on that same vehicle. That's where this fourth splitter is. And then finally, if it doesn't make it out of any of those splitters, this line goes all the way back and eventually goes to a sink. Which, if you don't know, the sink in this game is basically an item destroyer, but you get points for it that you can use on some other things. It's just a really good way to get rid of stuff you don't need and to help prevent lines from getting backed up. Because, like, if I didn't have a sink on these two lines and this SAM ore backed up like it is, and then more SAM ore came through and it got stuck because it had nowhere to go, it literally stops the whole line. So all the other rubber, plastic, and fuel that's coming on that line suddenly gets stuck in there and it can't keep filling these boxes, which, as you can see, are loading these items out to various locations, with the exception of the fuel. The fuel pretty much I just use for my my hovercraft, which I'm going to go ahead and refill now while I'm thinking about it. Oh yeah, you can see the sorting happening here. So I realize they're moving really fast. The black ones are rubber, the blue ones are plastic, or yellowish orange ones are fuel. And if you see any purple ones are the SAM, reanimated SAM. So there's a bunch of SAM, there's a bunch of plastic. So yeah, it's going through and sorting all these things, and anything that doesn't get fully sorted, and I should really have these fully upgraded. Anything that doesn't get fully sorted goes down the line and eventually gets destroyed, and I get points for it. But that keeps the line moving, because if this stopped, all these items behind it would sit on the line until I did something about it. Moving on, let's back up a little bit. Back up. So this is a more recent build. This is a whole bunch of extra steel bars. I got an alternate steel bar recipe. Or sorry, no, these are iron bars. I'm pretty sure it goes to steel, though. Maybe? Oh, steel pipes, that's right. So there's an alternate steel pipe recipe. Instead of using the steel bars we saw at the other place, I can use iron ingots instead. And there was a point where I was running out of steel pipes, and I needed a bunch more. So I actually had this node. Where is it? This node right here. This node remained untapped by me for a long time because I just didn't have a use for more iron until I did. So we tapped that node. It's even only a Mach 2 miner, so I could even get more out of it if I wanted. But this node is basically running at pretty close to 100% efficiency. Oh, it is 100% efficiency, pumping out 600 iron ore a minute. And that's, if it's running at 100% efficiency, that means it's not overloading and it's not running out. So this build right here is an exact 600 iron ore build to, I don't know how many pipes I have coming out here. 25, 50, 75, 150 pipes. So 600 iron ore goes straight into 150 iron pipes. Steel pipes. Yeah, that supplemented when I started running low on my supply, and I haven't had a problem since. It's been great. These are the sinks right here. The awesome sinks. Any items that go in here are destroyed, but you earn coupons that you can use at an awesome store to unlock a whole bunch of different things. We can go on about that later. Most of it's like cosmetic or flavor stuff, but there are some actual build pieces that are kind of super key to the game, so I would recommend you look at those. Let's see. I'm gonna have to see what do we got over here. Well, a lot of this is gonna be me trying to remember what I was working on too. So it looks like we have an iron ingot screws factory over here. Screws are notoriously annoying for most people because, like the wire, although worse, things that you need screws to be built need a lot of screws, and each one of these screw buckets you see is really only one, and there'll be things that need like 100 a minute. So screws are a constant problem. There are some alternative recipes that I never ended up building that are a little more efficient, but this is basically our screw factory. We've got iron ore going to iron bars going to screws, and then on top here, I'm not sure what we got going on up here. Got more iron ore to iron bars to, looks like, iron plates. Yep. Oh, and we're merging those screws with iron plates to make reinforced iron plates. These aren't working because this line is 100% backed up, which is fine. There's only one thing on this line. If it backs up, it backs up. And actually, I can tell you right now, these aren't even connected to anything. The screws are going out. That's good because it's really the screws I think I needed. But literally, these filled up the storage container, and now they're just done. I'm kind of tempted to attach those to the sink, but I'm not going to do that. Really quickly over here, you know what? Just because this is the way it's working, I know I went in a little bit. I'm going to do the rest of this stuff surrounding, and then we're going to dive into the factory. We got a couple iron extractors over there and right there. Those are just extracting iron ore. We've got more iron ore extractors over here, more screws. Like I said, those are always a kind of a bottleneck. And even like making sure you have the fastest belts in the main exit line is super important with these, because of just how many things it has to move. You can see a lot of them are going into another awesome sink here, so really we're really just trashing most of those, just getting points for them. Let's see, more iron bars. So these are making just straight up bars that are going into my iron bar line that I have going around here. I'm going to come back to that. So we got copper sheets over here that are completely backed up. So we got like a copper node over here, a couple copper assemblers making copper sheets. Got our Mach 2 blueprint right here, which honestly I've moved a bunch of times. Most of the time I use it and then I destroy it because I want to use the space it's in, but this one's actually been here for a little while because I haven't had to use it yet. And we're back to the beginning. This is where we started. This was the beginning of our entire factory. We got our hub right there in the middle. I realize it's kind of hard to see. It's red, which I don't think is a good standout color. So let's make it like a lime green. Nope, that's not a good one either. Let's make it like a purple. Yeah, sure, why not? So the purple and green there is our main base. And I guess let's dive into the factory. Again, this whole section, not all the way back, not back there, but this, I'm going to run out of power and start falling. This little section with the trees here and this multi-level section in the center, that's all the Christmas stuff for Fixmas. You work for Fixit, that's the company you work for. So Fixmas, like Christmas, but Fixmas, is a fun event they do every year, and this is everything involved in that. We're going to talk about that later. Let's go down to the very bottom, to the factory bottom floor. So when we started this factory, just one flat level. I had to level it out because these rolling dunes underneath are just not flat at all, as you can imagine. Looks like we got a little more steel production down, or iron production down here. That you can see the smoke coming up through. Got another awesome sink for destroying items. Got those iron bars coming up from that factory going into these iron assemblers, making iron plates that are going into storage with more screws to make reinforced plates like we saw back at the other side. Got lots of that iron coming over here, getting turned into iron rods that in turn get turned into more screws. Lots of screws, I'm telling you. Screws suck. And actually my note, my tip, if I will, for anyone watching this, anything that you have, any recipes you have that use screws, very likely have an alternate recipe that doesn't. It's almost always worth it to, when you get the option, if you know how to get the alternate recipes, It's almost always worth it to use the alternate screw recipes. Just a heads up. It's just the output's way higher, and it's usually just easier than having all these, like, look, all 5 of these are screw making. These 3 down, actually these 3 aren't anymore. Now they're iron rods, but at one point these were all making screws. Everything here was making screws until I started making them down there and piping in like a fresh line. But we're using screws with the copper sheets to make the rotors. That's going to be one of the first advanced items you start building beyond just like simple iron sheets and iron rods. Down here, I think we have more of the same. Oh, no, so we've got our modular frames down here. Oh, that's why I was making that line. See, I need to get this going. Anyway, it's fine. So this whole line right here is making modular frames, and that's the basic framework for everything going forward. You're going to be upgrading these modular frames to reinforced frames, and eventually, so you'll eventually upgrade to heavy modular frames and then fused modular frames. And those we'll see here in a little bit. But this baseline, we have just the regular modular frames going, and we're even using those modular frames to make versatile framework. That's one of the first phase items you're going to be sending up, I think, in phase 2. I honestly don't remember. Let's see if it says versatile framework. Yeah, so it's project part number 2. It actually doesn't give me any more information. I was hoping it would. But that's what we need to know. So that's part of project part phase 2. And here we're back over here by our deposit with the SAM ore, the rubber, the plastic, and the fuel. And that's mostly this side. So we do have another drop off. Those trucks I remember showing you that are coming to this drop off right here. These are bringing the steel parts from that steel factory we looked at back towards the beginning of the video. So that's bringing in steel pipes, steel beams, and encased beams, all 3 items. So those go into here. They export out both of these and get filtered into these storage containers based off if they're steel pipes or steel bars or encased beams. And anything that doesn't make those continues on, and I believe they go and join the sink line that we already saw over here for the rubber and plastic. Yep. And then from here, they also go out. Then they go to the various things that they're used for in construction, like these steel bar or steel beams are coming over here. So this is one of the alternate screw recipes if you can't get away from them. This recipe, when boosted the way I have it boosted, produces 780 screws a minute for 7.5 steel beams. That's a ridiculous return. That's hands down probably the fastest way to make screws. Just something to keep in mind. Let me get rid of my screws out of here. Let's see. So over here, we already kind of went by this once. But these are iron plates and screws being turned into the reinforced iron plates, which look kind of the same, but are just a little bit more detailed because they're reinforced. And that brings us back to this bottom floor of the left side. Let's see. So let's do bottom floor of the right side. And for the record, I'm going, since my base is right here, I'm pretending I'm looking west, so left, right. It should technically be south, north. Actually, let's do that. No, let's use that. So let's go to the north side of the bottom floor, north side. So this side has been built up a lot, sort of. I mean, look how empty it is. So sort of not. I've expanded on it a lot because there were lots of times where I just kept running out of all these materials that they're making. In this case, we've got copper bars coming in to be made into copper sheets, which are these like rolls right here. Let's see. We got, actually, let's go over here really quick. We already kind of went over this, but we got the vehicle that drops off all this quartz. The raw quartz gets turned into the quartz crystal, and it goes on its way to various manufacturing things above us. Over here, we've got our assemblers making AI limiters. Very, very important. So those are your copper sheets and quick wire. AI limiters are what allow you to make smart splitters, among other things. Smart splitters are basically like these, like a splitter, or sorry, that's a merger. Those are all mergers. You know, it's a splitter, 1 in, 3 out. So a smart splitter is what allows me to make like those sorting systems on the other side where you can have one line, multiple items. The smart splitters know when the right item's in it and it sends that item the way you tell it to. So that way you can split them off of the line. AI limiters are required to build smart splitters. I can guarantee you I've got hundreds of them throughout my factories. So AI limiter is kind of important. On top of their use for other various constructions. And then down here we have the heat sinks being made. Oh, why do I have all these aluminum sheets when they need it? Might need to drop those off somewhere. Anyways, heat sinks are made from aluminum sheets and copper sheets. I don't know why my supply to them is running dry. We can figure that out later. Not a big deal. And then that's really it for the bottom level of the north side of the factory. Like, I did plan to expand further out, and it just kind of never happened. We didn't talk about this over here, but this I'm pretty sure is just another, like, iron... Yeah, iron plate. That's all that's coming out of over there. It's just more iron plates. That's it. So, sticking with the theme of doing south than north, let's go back to south. Let's go up to the second floor. We'll start over here. Partly because we already did a little bit over here. So we were talking, this machine's unused. I think I was going to put some stuff here and it never happened. Nothing's hooked up to it. It's basically trash. So we talked about our steel, or our iron ore to iron bars to steel pipes. We already talked about this. This is the second floor of the south side. And over here, we've got a lot of things happening. So you saw those stators we were looking at earlier, or rotors we were looking at earlier. So those come up here and they merge with stators, which are made behind us to make motors. Kind of important. Back here, so these are the stators. Stators are made with the steel pipes. Remember, we built a big factory of those because at one point these machines were running dry and I couldn't have that. So stators, so they use steel pipes and quick wire. Again, these are if you don't see any things in these boxes down here, these are unboosted. So 60 quick wire a minute. And look how many machines we got. Like, this is hundreds a minute. And they got to feed that fast. So that's why quick wire is kind of so important. And having a lot of it coming in and having it on as fast conveyors as possible. Same with screws. Over here, we've got our electromagnetic control rods. It's very good to have. I use them a lot because I do a lot of nuclear. And the fact that they're running dry is actually really bad. So I need to... Like, if I was going to keep playing, this is something I would have to address. But we're not going to do that today. Yeah, it should all be good. Let's see. Those control rods do also get used to make the magnetic field generator. The magnetic field generator is project part number 7. Project parts are all the ones we send up the space elevator. And that's what we're going to do in a little bit. But yeah, so we got those being made here. Those were ones you sent up, I think, for phase 3. Might have been phase 4. But now that I've sent those up for that phase, they're actually being used to build phase 5 stuff. Over here, we have Fix-It Trigon. So this is the Fix-It stuff. There's a few things. They're basically technologies that I think were made using alien technology or something like that. And you gotta first make these Fixonium bars that turn into Fix-It Trigons. And this is kind of endgame stuff. You don't even get access to this till phase 5. So it being on this second floor is maybe a little out of place if I was trying to do floors by tiers. I wasn't. That's just kind of how it worked out in some cases. And they get used for all sorts of the highest end stuff you'll ever create in this game. They go into the storage container and they're just all over the place, basically. Really quickly, I'm going to steal that out of there. It doesn't need it anymore. And that one. This is more for me stuff. You guys don't need to worry about it. Alright, and that's pretty much the second floor of the south side of the factory. Let's go over to the north side again. We can come through the middle. And the middle, like again, I had different plans for the middle that didn't really ever pan out. If I ever do this again and try this type of thing again, I'm going to do trains. And I'm going to have 2 train stops on each side or something. And that would definitely have been a better option. But pretty much everything else in here is just conveyors, moving stuff one side to the other. I'll talk about all those ones up here at the top. but the center is just conveyor and space. All right, so starting on the north side, we've got circuit boards being made of plastic and copper sheet, a whole line of them. Go back this way. So these are manufacturer machines. They take 4 items in and build something. It's the most of any machine. These ones are all creating crystal oscillators, which are great to have. We need them for like radio control units and such, which are above us. Let's see. Let's go over here. A lot of this stuff is getting into endgame stuff, by the way. So if you're a beginning game, you won't see a lot of this till much later. Here we have pressure conversion cubes being made, which are one of the steps to getting nuclear pasta, which goes inside these pressure conversion cubes. They're made using fused modular frames for radio control units. Those are very, very important. Over here, we have more of the assembly director systems being made. This I actually have turned off because it's pretty much only used to make the biochemical sculptors, which is the phase 5 turn-in, which we have enough of so far. And again, I was running into power issues, so anything I didn't need running, I was turning off. Yeah. Let's see. Going over here, we have our automated wiring being made with stators and cables. Pretty simple. Go in one side, go out the other. And then finally, I don't see anything past it. On this floor, we've got these manufacturers making us singularity cells. Sorry, no, not a part item. I thought they might have been, but they are used to make some of the phase 5 part items. Very slow to build. Well, sort of slow to build. But like these ones use those nuclear pastas that are made from the pressurized cubes, as well as dark matter crystals. This is all phase 5 stuff that you won't get at until you're at the end game. Alright, and just a whole bunch of other items coming in from various locations to those. That's about it. Let's go back to the south side, 3rd floor. So almost everything on these top floors is phase 5 or near to the end of the game. And one way you can tell is by the size of the freaking machines. This is a particle accelerator. It's one of my favorite machines. It sounds awesome if you get to hear it going. Oh wow, we're actually overproducing stuff. That's great. So these 3 are all producing dark matter crystals, which are these purple things right here. Whoops, didn't mean to fall. Very cool. Very cool. Can you hear that? Like, it's really loud for me. It actually looked like it's not loud enough for you. I'm going to turn it up a little bit. Just a tad like there. Let me know if that's too much. Yeah, so these are all making those dark matter crystals. They use up to 600 milliwatts individually if they're not boosted, and up to... Actually, sorry, that one's under boosted. That's underclocked at 50%. So normal boost is up to 1,500 milliwatts at each. That's why some of these... That's why power started becoming an issue at this late game, because that's not even the highest one. We're going to wait till we get to the pressure cubes. Or the nuclear pasta, I'm sorry. These are quantum... what are they called again? Quantum encoders. Both of these two are making superposition oscillators, which are these guys right here. And those are used for a myriad of things, including these tiers, these Mach 6 belts, which are the fastest belts in the game. Unmodded. They're very cool. They put off this crazy glow straight up into the sky when they're working. They sound cool. They got flashy lights on them. Very, very slow to produce. Like these are actually cut in half, and it produces 2.5 a minute. And it could probably just boost that up to full. Why not? So 5 a minute. Yeah, those are one of the final creative or production machines you get in the game, along with the particle accelerators. And these suckers, these are converters. Now they do a lot of things. Obviously, they convert a lot of items to other items. Great way to, if you have an abundance of something and it converts to something else that you don't have an abundance of, these are great for that. I didn't use them for that at all. There hasn't been a point where I've needed to, or that it came to mind that I could have. There's definitely a few times where I probably could have, and I just forgot it was an option. But besides converting things, they also generate excited photonic matter, basically using nothing, which is kind of a white gaseous material like that you can see in these pipes. And they also produce dark matter residue, which requires that reanimated SAM. And it's kind of our purplish gaseous material that we're using over here in these particle accelerators. Going past them, we've got our heavy modular frames being made. That's actually like a tier 5 item / phase 3 maybe. But I brought it all the way up here to build it for some reason. I couldn't tell you why. Actually, if I remember correctly, I think these manufacturers are too tall to go on those bottom floors without clipping through. So that's why it's probably up here. These ones were obviously too tall. They had to be up here with no roof. Got more heavy modular frames being made. More heavy modular frames, I think. Yep. Let's keep on moving over here. We'll get to those ones in a second. We got SAM flux right here being made here. We did at one point, not anymore. It is currently just done. I just don't have any reason to have it producing. What's interesting is that those items still have some sort of use that I don't know what it is. Oh no, I do. Oh, that's the alien power matrix. It's related to that we unlocked that other quantum encoder. So I have to make that. Interesting. We'll get to that later. The quantum encoder are the ones with the beams going into the side. Then over here we've got turbo electric motors being made, as well as modular engines. And both of these things come down here and get merged with a few other items to make thermal propulsion rockets, which is another one of the part items you send up the space elevator. It's also used for a few other construction items later, but I kind of have an abundance of them, as you can see. Okay, back to these quantum encoders. This one is unused. These two are both producing the neural quantum processors, which require time crystals, supercomputers, fixed trigons, and excited photonic matter. And they also has a dark matter residue output that I got to deal with. All that dark matter residue is pumped back into this ecosystem over here. It's just all done underneath. And unless we go down and look at the pipes, oh, those are the pipes going all the way over there. You wouldn't know it because it's kind of hidden. And then back over here is where we already were. These were the quantum encoders doing the superposition oscillators, which are these guys right down here. Sorry, I know it's going kind of fast. There you go. These looks a little bit better. And that's pretty much it for the south side, 3rd floor. Now, there's not a 4th floor on the north side, and I didn't plan to put one on the south side like I did here. But since I'm here, let's go ahead and touch on it really quick. We've got another computer making photonic excited photonic matter, going to a quantum encoder, making the AI expansion server. That is one of the final parts items. If you look at the top right screen, you can see I needed 256 of those bad boys. They're already made. They're already loaded in the space elevator. I currently have this turned off. Again, power issues. Well, to prevent power issues. I've only had my power grid fail one time in these 200 hours of playtime. And it was right at the beginning. I knew it was going to happen, and so I prepared for it. And, you know, it was never a problem after that. Power fuses being blown at the beginning game, while surprising and frustrating, are very, very easy to fix. At the late game, it's much harder to get everything going again. So I'm glad I haven't had to have that problem. We have these two manufacturers here making ballistic warp drives. That was also one of the final project parts, number 11. That's all it's for. You build these purely to put in the elevator and send up. You don't use them to build anything, although you can put them in the sink to destroy them, and it gives you an insane amount of points. So many points. All right, let's go to the go back to the north side, 3rd floor. We're going to go over drones here in a second, but I'm going to do them afterwards. So the 3rd and final floor over here on the sort of copper side of everything. These first 3 machines I already know are making computers, as you can see per the sign. Computers need circuit boards, cables, and plastic. These have been a constant bottleneck since I started. I would strongly recommend you reinforce your computer output and do more than I did here. Like, these not outputting as much as I need is 100% one of the main things holding a lot of my factory from being completely 24/7 in use. They take a really long time, though. When you're starting them, a lot of the materials, like the plastic's hard to get in at the abundance that you need. But it's not too bad. You know, you just gotta do what you can. All right. Those computers are being... Well, they're going to many things. There's a whole bunch of things that use them. We've actually probably already gone over a couple of them. I may not have mentioned it because we didn't look at them. We didn't look at the recipe. But these are adaptive control units. I believe you send them up. Yeah, they're project part number 5. So you send them up, and I think in phase 2. Use computers, heavy modular frames, circuit boards, and automated wiring. These ones are kind of a pain to build when you're building them, but you don't need them as much after you send them up the space elevator. So, like, I believe one of these machines has been turned off since pretty much I sent them up. And the other one, like, this one's running, that one's turned off. And you can even see it's entirely backed up. It's fully backed up. Okay, going back over here next to our computer manufacturers, we have these ones that I think are supercomputers. Oh, no, high-speed connectors. So these are high-speed connectors needed for all sorts of things. They use circuit boards, cables, quick wire. We've got 2 of them producing, and that's been enough for me all through this. Although, no, it is just barely backed up. Like, actually, that appears to be the perfect amount. That's been working great for me. Further over here, we're going to do these last ones out here in a sec because those are some of the final things. So we have our supercomputers being built here. These are both supercomputers. I don't know why I didn't put a sign on the other one. I started with a lot of signs and then I stopped. It was the whole thing. Looks like we're still using quite a bit of them. Quite a few things use supercomputers, especially high-end endgame stuff. And they take a long time to produce, only 3.75 a minute, and that's to be doubling it with sloops. So normally it'd be closer to like 1.75 or whatever the exact half of that is. And those, not a terrible bottleneck, but I am constantly kind of fighting to keep those fully filled, the things I use them. Over here, we got radio control units. Also, one of the biggest bottlenecks in the game for me, almost the entire game. I've reinforced it since, and like it's pretty much staying full now, which is great. This one's not even turned on, but these use computers. So if you're running low on computers, like I had mentioned, like keeping these running, flowing smoothly is a little tough. Going over here, we got 3 more particle accelerators. All 3 of these are making nuclear pasta. And nuclear pasta basically looks like... It's right over here. Oh, the sound. It sounds so cool with my headphones. So this is nuclear pasta right here. Kind of looks like the pressure cube, but has that weird, like, nuclear, I guess, pasta inside it. Looks really cool. These things are brutal. With me doubling it, I get 1 a minute. 1. So all 3 of these, if they're not boosted but doubling, that's only 3 a minute. And we needed 1,000. If you can look at the top right corner, we needed 1,000 to send up for phase 5. When I said that I left the game running so stuff could complete, this is pretty much what I was talking about. And these suckers are power hogs. So with no boosting, 6,000 megawatts once it hits its peak. And you can see it's a buildup, like right now we're at 3,400, 3,500, and it just keeps going all the way up to 6,000. If I boost these with 3 power shards, that goes up to 2,500 milliwatts each. I'd add all 3 of these doing that. That's 75,000 milliwatts if they all peaked at the same time. That's the problem issues I was running into last night. But we've got it under control. And none of them are boosted like they were now, so they all only do 6, or not even 6,000. Like this one's only 1,500. What was the deal with this? Why was this one 6,000? Well, the summer sloop's not supposed to... Oh no, it does use more power. It's because of the summer sloop that uses more power. Though without the sloops and the extra boosting of the power cores, it's not terrible. It's only 1,500. But if you do it all the way to the other end of the spectrum, it goes up to 2,500. It's pretty crazy. I have a lot of nuclear power, and it still almost wasn't enough. And then final thing on this side, this is our battery constructor. I'm pretty sure this is an alternate recipe. Yeah, so I never used the original recipe. I got lucky and got this one almost immediately upon needing batteries. Uses sulfur, aluminum sheets, plastic, and wire. Produces 30 batteries a minute. this has covered my needs entirely throughout my entire playthrough. I have never had to make a second one. I've got these power all my drones, which we're about to look at, and I even have one drone taking these batteries to various points on the map to load other drone stations with batteries. But that's all it's taken. One machine with the alternate recipe, one drone using the batteries to deliver the batteries, and all my drones stay completely full. It's been honestly great. I've been really, really, really happy with my drone setup in this playthrough. So, drones up top. As you can see, we have kind of an array. And they are separated right here on purpose. So this one right here, this kind of metallic-y, copper-looking drone bay, this is my battery drone. Or drone battery drone. So this one is the one that has all the batteries that I'm making. The drone loads up with them, and it goes to the places I tell it, which I think are like 4 or 5. Looks like 4 different stops. And it unloads its batteries until it's empty. And then it comes back home, reloads, starts the process over again. It's all I've needed. This is the only one that does that. There's a few places where it unloads the batteries, and those batteries feed like 2 or 3 drone bays, not just one. This has been great. Like, I honestly thought at some point I was going to have to build a second battery factory, a battery manufacturer. Never had to. Now, that being said, I am definitely noticing that this line is not full like it once was. So we might actually be running into a problem right now where it's not making enough. And actually, I'm just going to go ahead and take care of that. Actually, let's just put 2 in there. Oh, dang it. No, I'm messing it up. 2. So we'll just power that one up a little bit, get a little extra batteries. But largely, I mean, I haven't had to... Oh, that's why. It's not getting enough aluminum sheets, which we already know is a problem. We're going to be going over to our aluminum factory in a bit to see if we can figure out why, but we won't be doing much work about it. I need to drop these aluminum sheets off in a sec. Anyway, not a big deal. So, this is the battery drone, the base battery export. Over here, we have our SAM, reanimated SAM export. So, we already have the reanimated SAM coming in on one of the vehicles. I believe it gets dropped off at this vehicle station right there. It's the one that comes in with the rubber, plastic, and fuel, and the sorters sort them all out. But they also come up here, and they leave here to go to various places that need them. Next to, we have this is our SAM receive station. So we actually have some coming in here as well by drone. I probably set up a second one that I forgot about somewhere, because the SAM ore, and it's just called SAM. It's a material. It's like SAM. It probably tells me if I just look at it. I know the M's matter. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, not the console. Strange alien matter. That's what SAM stands for. A lot of people tend to refer to it as SAM ore because there's iron ore, copper ore, Caterium ore. Basically, everything else is ore, minus this. This is not ore. It's just SAM. It's material. And you shouldn't call it ore. That's not what it is. We have extra plastic coming in because we ran into some plastic issues at one point. We've got our rubber export. So we've got a drone picking this up and taking... Actually, I think this one has drones coming to it. It doesn't have a drone dedicated. And those drones can land here and pick up the rubber if they need it and move out. We have our modular frames and heat sink export. I'm going to actually change this to export. My naming wasn't 100% in line the whole time, so my bad. And I can't remember. I believe this is going... Well, this is going to be out by our aluminum factory. We'll look at that, but these 2 parts are needed for something out there, and I don't remember exactly what it is. So we have our electric control rods export, which is super low. That's not good. I need those for nuclear. I need to look at that. We have our base fused frame receive, so those come in. Actually, now that I read those, I'm pretty sure the heatsink and the heavy modular frame are both involved in making these fused frames. So they're going out here, they're going to a place that's being built, and then another drone's bringing it back and dropping it here. We have our base cooling system receive. We have our fix-it ingot import. which would be import. Let's do import. Again, my naming, changed naming schemes a few times. We have our diamond imports, our pressure cube exports, because we need those for a few things. Got our fix it trigon exports, our singularity exports, and these two are actually, maybe it's these two. Yeah, it's these two. The time crystal. No, I'm pretty sure it is this one. The singularity export and this assembly director system export, I believe, are actually both just going right over there, and they're making that final piece we were looking at. And then here we have the time crystal import, which we don't really do much with here at the base, but we needed them here for something, and so we got it. And that's basically the drones. So, and drones are a little tricky. You can do them a few different ways. You can have a drone bay that's loaded with stuff that individual drones can stop at and pick up from, or you can dedicate a drone to that bay that takes that stuff and drops it off at other places, multiple places. You can't do both, though. So it's like a trick. You got to figure out how you want that line of materials to run. Sorry, my throat's getting dry. I really hope it's just because I'm talking and I'm not getting sick. That would suck. I feel fine, but my throat's scratchy. And it wasn't before we started. So I think it's just me talking. Here, I'll drink some of my coffee, see if that'll help. Drink a little bit more. Nom, 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 nom. And that's pretty much the main factory. We've got a few things. We got a little bit more copper over here. We kind of touched on all that, though. Yeah, that's the main factory. I'm gonna make a quick. I don't even know which button to do here for my bookmarks. I guess let's do that one. So we're gonna keep going on the main factory tour, but really quickly, let's take a look at FoXmas. So again, you work for a company named Fixit, and they build and fix things. Makes sense. You can see the logo right here, or even right there. Actually, right there in the middle. That one's probably super clear for you. Maybe I can try to get closer. I don't know. That's fine. I'm sure you can see it, and if not, here. Yeah, Fixit. That's who you work for. And Fixit has FoXmas. Merry FoXmas. We got an advent calendar. All the numbers are highlighted because I've already found them, but typically you click on them, a thing opens, you get the item, and you have to progress through some stages to get all the items. This takes you through all of them. It's all for fun. It doesn't really benefit you in the game in any way besides just fun. Anyway, so that's the start of it. You get your first items there, which allow you to start building a few things, such as trees. And actually, I'm sorry. Let me take that back. The first items you get are actually presents, and they fall from the sky. Wherever you are in the world, you start seeing presents falling down, like pretty large size. They shrunk them this year. Thank God, they were too big. They're about the size of you. They're about the size of a person. So if you walk up to them, they're in your face. They used to be the size of like 4 of these blocks. They were huge. I'm very glad they shrunk them. It was actually annoying if you didn't do the thing to stop them. Because once you get these trees here, so these trees produce presents. And once you have a certain amount of them, I think it's 10, it might be less, the presents stop raining down from the sky. So they stop spawning around the world, which is really nice because they kind of get annoying after a while. So the trees produce the presents that you otherwise find on the ground until you have the trees. That's the base material. Presents I have coming over here and going into all these different machines. On this side, I have the presents making candy canes, as well as FoXmas actual snow. Don't ask how. That doesn't matter. And on this side, I have it making tree branches, and I think actually just tree branches, yeah. Oh, and at the very end here, we got one machine making ribbons, or FoXmas bows. Using all those items, we can run them over here. Or also, sorry, not using those items, just also using the presents. We're making FoXmas blue ornaments, as well as FoXmas red ornaments. And by the way, I was talking about colors earlier. This is a great example. Obviously, red's on the left, blue's on the right. Not all of this is maybe exactly color-coded, but it is colored differently. And it's so much nice to look at. You can color the conveyors to a degree, especially these box 6 ones are super colorful. Whereas the regular ones like these aren't quite as colorful, but you can definitely, change the color of just about anything in the game. Use color. Like, really, you'll appreciate it more if you use color. Anyway, so those are all the base items. We've got the bows, we got the fake snow, we've got the candy cans, the 2 color ornaments. After your first few days of Fixmas, you'll get access to the next tier, which is going to be right above us here. So I'll try to, let's see, where's the line? Let's try to find the line. So on this side, we've got the red ornaments coming in, and they're being merged with copper ore, which turns them into copper ornaments, these gold ones looking right there, copper looking ones. And on this side we have blue ornaments being fused with iron ore, which pumps out these silver Fixmas ornaments. Very cool, right? So those come down and the silver and the copper merge, and those make Fixmas ornament bundles with all the colors. You got copper, blue, red, and silver in there. Those things come through, and we're going to mix those with the Fixmas tree branches. Remember, we were making those at the bottom. And those make the Fixmas wreaths. Go through. The wreaths come all the way over here, and they merge with the candy canes to make the final item, the Fixmas Wonder Star. I can't remember if we do anything with the Wonder Stars. I kind of think you don't. I think that's pretty much it. By that time, you've pretty much completed the advent calendar. You've completed everything. You do have this tree, which you can place anywhere you want. This is just kind of where it ended up for me. At one point, it was right here. Actually, I think it was right here, and I thought I was going to use this space, and I moved it, and then I ended up not using the space, so, you know, whatever. Oh, yeah, can you open presents on this? That's something I forgot to do on Christmas. Dang. That's a bummer. I wanted to see if you could come open these. If you're watching this later, it's now January 4th. So we're a week or so away. Anyways, as you progress through the Fixmas stuff, the tree gets more and more designed. You start getting the ornaments, and then you get the lights, and then you get the copper and silver ornaments. And then once you do the final upgrade, you get the star. And that's pretty much Fixmas. That's Fix-It's Christmas extravaganza, if you will. Hold on, I'm actually going to do like maybe a little screeny poo. Maybe for some thumbnails. But yeah, that's pretty much the whole Fixmas thing. It's fun. There's a whole research line for it. I'll come down to the MAM really quick. The MAM's where you do all your researching. So there's a whole Fixmas tree. I've obviously finished it. It'll let you... Then this is how you unlock, like, the candy cane. There's actually a candy cane weapon. The candy cane basher, which I never made. I really should. And then the bows and the ornament colors and all that. So as you go through this, you get all sorts of fun little audio quips from Ada, because she is totally against it. She thinks it's an entire waste of time and that you shouldn't even be doing it. And she tries to basically persuade you to stop through the whole thing, which is pretty funny. And that's the end of Fixmas. Once you finish that, it's all pretty much done. Everything keeps running. My understanding is usually the first or second week of January, these trees will stop producing presents. So eventually all the factories back here will use all the presents I have saved, and then it just won't work again until next Fixmas. Yeah, and that is basically the main factory tour with the Fixmas factory included. I do wish I would have had walls and made this an actual factory. I didn't know how big it was going to be. I'd never finished the Fixmas event. I have done it a little bit in the past, but I never finished it. And now that I know, like, for future playthroughs, I'll have an idea of how much space I need to give it. It looks like about 10 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, maybe 12 blocks. 12 by 12 or something. So we'll make a factory next time. No big deal. Let's see. You know, there is some stuff out here worth looking at. Well, maybe. Oh, man, I can't decide. There's so much stuff everywhere. The thing is, I don't want to spend my entire streaming day going in on this. And we're already... Oh, my God. We're already an hour and a half in. What's up, Brackle? Dude, I'm going to be honest with you. This is taking longer than I thought. I don't know if I'm going to get to Planet Crafter for as much time today as I thought. We're doing touring of the factory. But we're going to go ahead and boost all the way over here. Let's check out this side. So way out here in the far east side, you can see I didn't do much over here. Didn't do much over here. This is our diamond and time crystal factory. So these 3 particle accelerators are using coal, a lot of coal, approximately 600 per a minute for each machine coal to make 30 diamonds per 600 coal. It's a terrible return, but it works great. Oh yeah, it is 420. Congrats. I'm actually not smoking right now. I stopped on the first, but enjoy your 420. Oh my god, those are so loud. They're so loud. Gotta get away from them. You know, I did play a little bit of Lego Fortnite, and it seemed pretty cool, but it also seemed kind of, I don't know, limiting. I don't know, how far have you guys gotten on that? I'll read your message. I'm going to keep kind of treating this like a tour, because that's how I'm going to cut it up. Anyway, so over here, we got our particle accelerators making the diamonds for a ridiculous amount of coal. Those are being shipped off as is, and then over here, they're going through converters to create time crystals, which are used in my Mach 6 conveyors. They're super, super useful. I basically can't ever have enough of them. Let's see, I don't know that I have much else to talk about over here. The only thing that's really unique on this side is going to be over... Oh, I missed it. Dang it. So this is one of my more recent builds. All this is copper. We've got a whole bunch of copper ore coming in. Also with iron, I believe. Copper and iron. Yep. Copper and iron. And those are turning into the copper ingots. So this is actually... The reason it's using iron is just because it's an alternate copper alloy ingot. And I just get 250 copper a minute with this. You could do it with just plain copper. You don't need the iron. But if you have it, it's a lot faster. And all this copper is being turned into copper powder that's being used to make all the Phase 5 items. That's pretty much it. There isn't really much over here. Let's go to our big cannon and we'll head over to the next big factory. So I'm a big fan of cannons. You've seen me use a few of them already. This was ultimately the biggest one I built. It was just big enough to get me everywhere I needed to go. And, you know, actually, I don't even know if I should take this one yet. Forgive me, guys. I'm going to go take... I don't even know which one I should take. I think I'm going to take this one. I had a lot more of them at one point, all pointing different directions. I can make this one work, though. So this is some infrastructure I never ended up using. I could actually delete all that. It's not running at all. I have this other platform over here I originally planned to do some stuff with, but never did. Got a few of those around. We're going to see them as we go by, but we're not going to really stop at them because there's nothing to see. There's nothing here. Oops. Take another cannon. So this is my aluminum, basically mostly all aluminum factory. It's bringing in the ore from a few different locations. And then this train system goes all the way back to the main station, which I kind of wish I would have taken that. Maybe we will. Instead of the cannon, it would have been a nice visual. So, like, this is copper ore going to copper ingots, which I think are going down there to make the aluminum casing. In here, actually, let's put on the hover back. In here, we have our ingots and copper ingots making aluminum sheets. I forgot. I have a whole bunch of my inventory that I don't need. And actually, I can already tell we have a supply flow issue here. I'm going to do this really quick. And then we can... Because remember, having aluminum issues back at the base. So we need to make sure that it's getting as much as it can. All right. Should greatly increase the belt upgrade. There was... Oh wow, it's already full. Oh, it's because it's loading. It stops when it's loading. So yeah, ultimately we got a lot of things being merged here to make aluminum sheets, as well as over here. These are all the aluminum ingots. And over here, the copper and aluminum ingots are being made into these aluminum casings. All those things either go to the train over here that goes to the base, or a few of those casings go over here for something that I don't honestly remember. We've got another train station over here with a drone on top of it. That train is actually bringing in the SAM ore, because that SAM ore comes from this area as well. SAM. See, I call it SAM ore by default, but it's not ore. That train we saw back there actually goes underneath us here. And you can see it going that way. There's the station. Actually, you know, I probably should have used a cannon, but... let's go ahead and glide over here. So I have a vehicle doing this run. That's what these little blue arrows are. You might be able to see. It might be a little too compressed for you. But it's just moving those aluminum casings you saw over here. There it is. Ooh, the save game got me. Drops them off here. You can see them coming out, going in there, and coming up here. We got a bunch of water also being... or no, this isn't water. No, it is water. Oh yeah, it's just a pressurized water node. So we got aluminum casing and water coming in over here. Got another cannon. And in here we have... this is where one of those drones was bringing the heat sinks and the reinforced frames, I think it was. Here we have the cooling systems being made, as well as... can't remember, that's why I have to go look. Oh yeah, the fused modular frames. I'm going to take those out. And those things both go into drones and get shipped back to the base. That's how most of my satellite things are. They build something and it goes back to the base for the most part. What was unique, and the reason I set this up over here, is these fused modular frames need nitrogen gas. I believe the cooling systems do too. And this is a nitrogen gas pressurized well that you can see I have all set up and pressurized, and it's loading up these kind of like nitrogen gas looking stuff. Maybe on this side a little bit easier to see. It's kind of like a gaseous... I mean, it is gaseous. And that's pretty much all that's going on over here. Let's see. You know, I gotta actually look now. Think about... I didn't really do much on the south side of the map. I don't think I really have anything going on over here. I've got a bunch of boost... like cannons all over the place so I can get around. But didn't do much over here. Let's take a look, though. Oh, the fog makes it hard. You can tell everywhere power lines are. That's where I was at one point in time. There's a lot of collectibles in the world, and so a lot of this was just me exploring, trying to find the collectibles. So I got a couple more boosters here. Yeah, I don't think I have anything over here at all besides just my grid of power lines so I could zip around on them. I do believe this area is one of the other starting points. It's not the first or the fourth. The dune is the fourth, considered the hardest. That's the one I did back. I started in the dunes, very obvious. And the first one's in the forest. And I want to say down here, we can't see it because of the fog. Oh no, it's that way. Down here is kind of like a plains area, which is another beginner starting area. Let's see. I think I want to go that way. I do. So let's build another cannon. Nope. It's my compact death cannon. Aptly named. Let's just do like right there. All right, let's go. Oh yeah, so you can when the fog goes away, like, so this is a starting area. I don't know exactly where it is. I've never started in this zone, but I believe it's like maybe right here, or maybe it's like over here. But again, didn't do much building over here. You can see power lines, but that's about it. But we can come over to this factory. You can already see it's sucking up a ton of water from down below and pumping it up top. So what these are all doing, we also have sulfur coming in from that miner back there. All these refineries are taking the sulfur, washing it with water, turning it into sulfuric acid. Very important for the nuclear process. We'll get to that later. All of these are doing the same thing. They're all pumping the sulfur into this buffer, which loads it up into these packaging machines. These packagers take empty plastic containers, load them up with sulfuric acid, so it's something I can ship around as like an item instead of a liquid. Pretty simple. They go up here to the drones. I had a second floor I never used. And from here, they drone out to my nuclear power station, which is going to be not the next stop, but pretty close, like the stop after that. The only other thing I have coming in here is batteries, which is this battery drone here. And it's just the whole sole purpose of it is deliver batteries for this drone, and that's it. That's all we have over here. It's just sulfuric acid. Okay, we're going to go... Let's see. I'm going to put my jetpack back on. I gotta keep switching back and forth because the hover pack, this thing, it has a limited speed. Like, I'm boosting right, like, this is normal speed, and I can hold shift to go faster. But if I'm, like, flying through the air with inertia and I accidentally hit the hover, it just kills my speed. So that's why I'm putting on the hover pack, because if I have inertia, I can hover, and it'll maintain that speed. But I have fuel, so, you know, there's a trade-off. Anyways, let's go this way. So lots of stuff here you can build on. I don't have anything built below me. We're going to... Oh, wait, a little bit too far to the left. So another small little factory here, and we'll go to actually that one next, but this one first. This was my first in only one of 2 uranium exports. So there's a uranium node down there. You can see it pumping it up. It's going to get pretty radioactive and spicy over here. It's okay. We've got protection. This is the uranium ore. And kind of same thing as the sulfuric acid. I've got 1 drone sending the ore out, and I've got 1 drone bringing batteries in. And yeah, pretty simple. And that's pretty much it. This is the red forest. Lots of spiders around here. I'm not even joking. They're actually enemy spiders. They're not too bad to deal with, but they jump like crazy. Let's see if I can find one. I see the corpse of one, which is interesting. But anyway, it's not a big deal. They're just spiders. They're exactly what you expect a spider to look like. All right, let's go. We don't need to go super far, so I'm going to go in like one little in the middle here. So we looked at our first coal factory. This is the second of 2. There's really only these 2. This is a really good one for beginners to know about because this factory is right next to 3 pure coal nodes. Pure being the highest quality, the most output. So you can't see it, but underneath there's just tons and tons of water extractors. They're all pumping the water up. You can't obviously see the lines. Incidentally, I haven't used colors here yet. These are all the standard colors. Does it seem a little more bland? I think it does. That's also why I recommend you use the colors. Like, if I were to take the time, I would turn all these water pipes blue, probably turn all the coal plants black, maybe change the floor coloring so there's like some colored walkways or something. I don't know. But yeah, just a whole bunch of coal power, like a ton, as you can see. And the thing is I'm pretty positive these extractors aren't even Mach 3 extractors, so I could probably double this entire construction you see here if I wanted to. But again, coal power is pretty limited compared to nuclear. So even if I doubled it, it would be such a small drop in the power bucket that I would be better off spending my time on more nuclear. That doesn't come without its own problems, though, you know? Yeah, isn't it nice? You can take a sip. It's got some physics. Come on, there we go. You can kind of see it. It's kind of hard to get it to do it, but it'll... Anyways, moving on. Not much down here. I believe this is one of the other starting areas. It's kind of in this, like, desert plains. I built my nuclear factory over here. That's where we're going next. So we were looking at the uranium a bit ago. This is where it comes into. It extracts over there and gets dropped off here. This drone's about to drop more off. Not that it has any room to. Well, I guess it does now. So the uranium comes down here. And so the sulfuric acid that we were looking at also comes over here on this drone. And that uranium and sulfuric acid gets mixed in the blender here with some concrete. and that makes the encased uranium cells. It also has some sulfuric acid output, so you have to manage how much is coming in with the extra excess. Those rods come over here and get matched, or merged, I guess, with encased industrial beams, electromagnetic control rods, to create the uranium fuel rods. And that's your base fuel for the nuclear generators you see behind me. Now, the downside to nuclear power is it has nuclear waste, highly radioactive. The bottom line here, those are the power cells. And the top line here, that's the waste. So that's all nuclear waste you see going by. It is a problem. You have to deal with it at some point. The way I originally dealt with that was this tower of radioactive death. Now, it doesn't even go all the way up. You can't even see all the way because graphics. But you can see it goes all the way. That's the height limit of the game. You can't build any higher than that. It starts to kill you if you go higher. Like, I can go up there and stand on top of that brick and I'm fine. But if I jump, I start taking damage. Like, that's how close it is. And if you go up there, I'd say probably this tower is ridiculous. I did it because there's an achievement for hitting the height limit, so I was like, screw it, I'll just do it this way. Nothing's going there anymore. I'm now recycling all this. We'll get to that. But so this isn't adding anymore, but I would say the top half of this is probably super radioactive. Pretty actually on par with, like, if I come down here and stand next to these fuel rods, it's pretty much full radiation. Again, I have protection. It's not a big deal. Long term, you eventually start capturing all this waste, and I drone it out to a recycle center that we're going to be visiting after we get done here. Nuclear power requires a ton of water to cool it, which is a real life thing if you don't know anything about nuclear power. Tons and tons of water. So underneath, we have all our water extractors. Basically, I have 5 of these extractors to every 2 nuclear power plants above me. That's overkill, but it makes sure that they don't run out of water. And the last thing I really want to talk about over here, so we have the sulfuric acid coming in, I was telling you about, and we looked at the sulfuric acid factory back along the shore here. If you remember, I have to package it. I actually have to put it in plastic containers to turn it into a physical item that could be transported instead of in tubes. So what this does is this yellow drone, which you just saw take off, it brings in the sulfuric acid in the containers. They go into these depackagers. It's just a packager, but it also depackages. It removes the sulfuric acid from the containers, puts it into the pipe system, and then it sends the empty containers along this line. They go around the bend, and they go back into this drone, which then, or actually, sorry, yeah, it does go into that drone. And those drones are taking it back to the packaging area. So the plastic's reused constantly. I don't have to add any more to the system. And once you know you've added enough, it's a nice balance, and it'll just keep doing the thing over and over again. It won't stop as long as it doesn't lose power. It's kind of cool. It's the first time I've done this kind of like a reuse system, and it worked out great. Like, I didn't really have to do much besides, I would say 3 or 4 times I had to go and add more empty containers to the whole cycle because there just wasn't enough for how much sulfuric acid I needed coming. But yeah, it works great. I've been super happy with it. And that's pretty much it. It got some, what is this? Oh yeah, encased beams. That's just encased beams that it's needed. Nothing too fancy. And now we're gonna boost over here to, we got a couple decent factories over here. This one's pretty simple. It's all stuff that we already have being built over at the main base. It's just all stuff that's going to the nuclear, like those encased beams you saw. But over here, this is the recycling center. This is probably the biggest challenge I had in the game because there's so much involved. Like, first off, you got to have water, and I think it's, nitrogen gas. So you need water, nitrogen gas, and iron plates to make nitric acid. Those things are already, like, kind of weird to get next to each other. There's only a few places where nitrogen is, so unless you want to package it, which you saw I can do, you have to bring your factory to our nitrogen. Down here at the bottom, this is a pressurized nitrogen node. You put the pressurizer on it. That's the big thing in the middle. It pushes pressure in, and then the nitrogen comes out of all these other little satellites. And then I have it pumped up here with a whole bunch, well, not a whole bunch, a little bit of water. And all that with some iron plates goes into nitric acid. And those iron plates are coming from that factory right on the other side of the hill here. That's why I didn't stop there. It's all basic stuff. You've seen it all. It's just little things like these plates that I needed for this operation. Now, once you have the nitric acid, you bring it over here to these blender machines. And here you can see I have the radioactive uranium waste that's being droned in from the nuclear we were just looking at. We mix that uranium waste with silica, which is from quartz, with the nitric acid and sulfuric acid coming from that other factory to make the non-fissile uranium. This is a lot. This is already a lot. We're not even done yet. Then you take that non-fissile uranium, this stuff in the kind of the box, and you take more of the uranium waste and you put it in the particle accelerators to make plutonium pellets. Not too hard, very power hungry. You can see I got 3 of them running. Then you come over here, and actually, I'm sorry, I guess I have sulfuric acid being made here. My bad. I don't have it droned in. I forgot. So that's our second sulfuric acid setup. Anyways, so we have the uranium pellets. Those come over here and get mixed with concrete to make uranium fuel rods. Or sorry, plutonium pellets for plutonium cells. We're getting to the uranium. And those plutonium cells get mixed with conversion cubes. Remember, we're making those back at the base. And to make plutonium fuel rods. And this drone station is bringing in those pressurized cubes, and then this whole line right here is just all concrete. All used on these little factory machines right here. And then over this edge, this is where we're burning the recycled fuel. So if we come down to these nuclear reactors, you can see the fuel's blue instead of green because it's the plutonium. We're burning those plutonium fuel rods, which I get 10 minutes out of 1 at 2,500 milliwatts. It lasts a very long time, but still has plutonium waste. So we're still dealing with waste here, and our waste line comes back here. This is the plutonium waste right here. Also radioactive, as it all is. And I'm mixing the plutonium waste with singularity cells coming in from base, as well as reanimated SAM. Oh, actually, we're not even to the reanimated SAM part yet. Sorry. We're mixing the plutonium waste with the singularity cells and the dark matter residue from the converter behind me to make fixonium, which is a material that Fixit, the people you work for, designed as a clean burning nuclear fuel alternative. So we got the fixonium, and then over here we turn the fixonium using electromagnetic control rods, fixite trigons, and excited photonic matter to make fixonium fuel rods, which come over here to more nuclear reactors that burn those rods at a 1 per minute rate, but it has no waste output. So this is the end of the recycling line. Essentially, if you get to this point, as long as everything is in balance, you have no more waste. It's all being dealt with. This was a process. This whole recycling process took me a couple playthroughs. Oh, there's a drone right there. That kind of scared me. And I'm very happy to have it done. It's very awesome to see done. I kind of wish it looked more factory-esque and not just like floating platforms, but, you know, it is what it is. I'm more function over form. That's just how I am as a person. And it obviously goes into my gameplay style. If I ever come back to this, I'm probably going to spend at least another 50 plus hours just making things look nice. Let's see. I think we're kind of getting to the end here. There's not too much more I can talk about. Like on top of, there's some buildings up here you can see, but it's not anything you haven't seen before. It's just another uranium supply that's being droned out. It's just pure uranium. There's no construction happening up there. Let's see. Let's go back to our main booster. Like I don't have anything in this area. I've got a little bit happening right there, but not much. Oh, I got one more area to go. We got one more big area to go to. Maybe 2. Well, 1 big and 1 small. So we'll go back over to our death cannons. And we're going to boost. Yeah, what was I making down there? I actually don't even remember what that is. Something with particle accelerators. I'm pretty sure it's just more of the same. It's just something I needed more of. Anyways, so we got another unused platform over there. And down here. So This was probably the last thing I did. I had to do this last night because I was running out of plastic. Take a drink of my coffee before I land. It's taking so long. I'll take 2 drinks. Do I have time for 3? I do. So there's a lot of things being produced over here, but it's mostly just... Actually, no, not a lot. There's a few things being produced over here, and it's mostly plastic. Got some fuel being produced for these fuel generators I'll go look at. But you can see all the plastic running along these conveyors. It's going along the line and goes up to this drone, which sends it to the base. I also have... It's also creating fuel, which is kind of this orange-filled fluid. Just fuel. And it's going into all these fuel power generators, and it just burns it and gives me power. Pretty simple. This is probably the third big power upgrade you get over coal. And these ones each produce about 250 megawatts of energy. It's not great. It's a huge upgrade over coal, but again, once you get to like nuclear or turbo fuel, which I haven't even done, you're just kind of in a different league at that point. And yeah, there's not much to show over here, just lots of pipes bringing all the oil in. I have 3 nodes over here, and then way down this walkway is 1 more node, but it's just all oil. That's all it is, just all oil. And then the drone taking it to the base. And the final stop I can think of is going to be right this way. So lots of stuff up here. These are power generators, geothermal power generators. You put them on a geothermal spot, connect it to your grid, and that's it. They just generate power. I've got a small little setup here. So over here, I've got some Caterium ore being merged with reanimated SAM, and it's making the fixed site trigons. Or sorry, the fixed site ingots, which are what I need for the fixed site trigons and a few of the other high-end energy materials. That's all that's over here. And then if we hop down here, over the edge, over the cliff, we just have our train. And this is just an extra coal. I believe it's only coal. Wow, a lot of it. This is just what I needed, extra coal coming into my base. You can see the base in the background there, where we've come basically full circle. And actually, yeah, this was actually my first train that I ever built because I was super intimidated by them. And then we can boost back over to the base, and that's pretty much the total. That's everything. That's 200 hours in Satisfactory. It's been a very fun game. I already knew it was fun before I did all this, and it's very awesome to be at the end. So now that we're done with the tour, we get to do what I've been waiting to do this entire time. We're gonna send up the final phase, the final items. We're gonna hear Ada talk the final, I assume, amount of shit to me, because she likes to do that. I'm actually gonna go ahead and hit a save. Oh, actually, hold on. I'm just gonna save over this one. All right. So all the items are loaded in here. It's the same 4 we were looking up at the top right corner. We're gonna load this cargo, seal it up.
Unsurprisingly, here's another presentation, but don't worry, I have improved it. This last delivery will be the most important action you have ever taken. Perhaps you want to take a moment to contemplate the gravity of your achievements. Alright, that's enough. This is the end of the Save the Day program. All you need to do is wait for the automated Phase 5 construction to complete. Simply throw the lever and further instructions will be supplied when relevant.
Alright, let's go. So leaves the atmosphere, and they start putting it to work.
Phase 5 completed. Return to the space elevator after the resources have been processed and added to Project Assembly. Launch can then be initiated from there. While waiting, please do not break anything. Solve
Wait, is
any
there more?
issues immediately and efficiently. Ensure your power network is stable. Perhaps it is best if you do not touch anything at all. And stay close to the space elevator. This will only take a moment.
All right, I think we're done. So this, if you don't know, every time you finish a phase, more and more gets built onto it. So the first time you build the space elevator and you see the initial construction, it's like a skeleton. You don't have any of these yellow parts. It's all kind of see-through. And every time you do a phase, it gets more and more complete. I think. I kind of wasn't expecting her to say I had to do something after it, so I'm not really sure what's going to happen here. Current instruction, check oil. Whoa, this whole thing changed. What is going on? Maybe I'm not done with this game. I wiped my windows, I guess. Oh, it does say check oil. Okay, let's check oil. Current instruction, set fuel injection to level 5. Activate bus 1. Is that this one? Oh, B1. Set left stabilizer to 9. Set right stabilizer to 4. Turn on gyros. Oh, it already did it. Gyroscope to turn on. Bouncer Z turned on. Oh, I already turned those on. That's why. Wait, prepare it. What's happening? Here we go. Is it doing it again?
Initiating project assembly.
Assembly.
Attaching cargo to main body.
Whoa. Oh, it's rotating. I have no idea if this is a good perspective to watch at. I mean, I gotta look straight up, so apologies if it's like hard to tell what's going on.
Outer rings.
So is it coming down or expanding? I can't tell. I think it's expanding.
Attaching propulsion to main body.
Oh, you're building a ship, I think. I think I kind of missed that. I forgot.
Fuel lines connected. Attaching control center to main body. Running systems check. All systems online.
Dope.
Releasing propulsion cage. Releasing clamps. Running pre-launch checks and calculating flight path.
Is it just gonna like
Locking
warp
in
out of there?
cargo. Launch in T-minus 10. 9.
9,
8.
8.
7. 6. 5.
Oh god.
4. 3, 2, 1. Liftoff.
Freaking cool. Ah, I'm getting goosebumps. That's crazy. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. Whoa. Why? What's that? Oh, God! What the hell? This feels dangerous. Oh, maybe not. Whoa. Wow. I'm still here. Do I get to go? That was cool. Guys? Stuff's moving again. Resetting, maybe?
Connection with QAR437 nucleus established and stable. Dispersion initiated. Reinstancing master nucleus to QAR436 Akicha, B1. Hello, this is Ada, your new local instance of Ada. On behalf of Ada, myself, and all of Fixit, I want to congratulate you on saving the day. Every single kitten and puppy would thank you if they could. You have proven yourself to be a worthwhile and productive member of the human race, and have contributed something to this universe that will forever change it. Thanks to your achievements, the next generation of pioneers can now take to the stars and construct, automate, explore and exploit, alongside me. Additionally, you have been promoted to local production manager, effective immediately.
I'm the only person
Your
here.
duties to project assembly may be complete, but your duties to fix it remain. With your help, Fixit continues to make the universe a better place. Stay efficient. Stay with Fixit.
Bravo. Hell yeah. What a great, great, great game. I really wish I had the music turned on for it. Ah, can I turn it on now? It's probably not going to start. Oh well. I can put on some of my own music. So yeah, that's the end of Satisfactory. Man, super cool. Awesome payoff. I kind of thought they were gonna... I thought they were shooting missiles at me at first, and I thought, oh, great, I helped you escape, so now you're just gonna blow the planet and me up. But it ended up opening the warp door or whatever. Jeez. What a great game. I don't want to get rid of the credits, but I wonder if I could, if I wanted to. Yeah. Only took 200 and some hours. But admittedly, probably at least half of that, maybe half's a little too high. Maybe at least 40% of that was like rebuilding and restructuring stuff when it, like, I found out that I was an idiot the first time I did it. Man, that was so cool. What a great game. This is some of the best money I've ever spent. And this is a game I pirated the first time I got it. Like, it just goes to show, man, piracy isn't necessarily lost sales. I would argue it made this sale. No, they made the sale by making the game, but it helped me buy the game. Kind of bummed that the music didn't end up turning on. I was kind of hoping it would. I wonder what these guys are working on now. I think their plan is to move on from Satisfactory now, but I'm not entirely sure on that. It's in development for like 4 years. Early access, I mean, or something like that. Maybe longer. I like how a lot of these people's name has their like gamer name next to it. If they aren't just a gamer name. Like, God, I can't even say some of these. I want to use an example, but some part of it I can't enunciate. They're all like different, they're like languages too, so their names are kind of weird for me, for English. William Santos, also Explode, capital X. I like that they put the gamer names in that. That's awesome. Anders Nilsson goes by Nerd by Nature. Oh, I've been playing for 2 hours. That took quite a bit longer than I thought it was going to take. Well, that's it. All right, let's do a final save there. God, is there anything else I want to do? I mean, that's it. We're done. Screw this game. No, I'm kidding. All right, well. God, what was the final hour count on that? Although, admittedly, there's... So, 204 hours, 3 minutes, 9 seconds, based on that last save. Can you do anything? Hold on, before I leave. Is there anything else to do here? That little, like, initialization sequence was pretty cool. Like, I've never even seen this page before. Pioneer purpose concluded. I am without purpose. God, I can't believe I actually am done. I can't believe we've completed it. It was such a massive undertaking. Well, time to move on. Thanks, Satisfactory. Thanks, Coffee Stain Studios. That's who made it, by the way, if you don't know. Thank you very much for the it's actually more like that, for like the 500 hours of good gameplay.